Welcome, besties. I have no clue what we're talking about today.
Now she's lying. She does know. So I'm not a TikToker. I'm trying to be a little bit more in the TikTok era, as my daughter would say, because I guess there's like book talks and stuff and kind of have to sell the book that I've spent like the last 3 years writing. So Kelsey asked me the other day to listen to this TikTok about these mamas telling their kid what to do if somebody, I think it was like the 3 T's or something, if somebody picked on them at school. It was just really funny. And I said, maybe we should ask our kids what they would do if somebody picked on them or hit them at school or wherever. Hi, I'm Kasey, and right here beside me is Kelsey. We are licensed professional counselors, mothers, entrepreneurs, and besties. We know firsthand what it's like to wake up one day and think, how in the heck did I wind up here?
Through our own journeys of self-discovery, we found that joy is something that has to be pursued through internal work. Now we are on a mission to help women from all walks of life understand themselves more so they can have real lasting joy.
Join us every Thursday to hear fun and insightful interviews with experts who can point you toward self-discovery and fulfillment. So, our children...
Should we start with the 3 T's? What these moms claim that...
I don't even remember what they were. Talk to the kid.
Talk to the kid.
Heck no, I can't go through these. I was like, no, that is not. If someone punches my kid in the face, no, we're not going to talk about it. You're going to knock their ass out. Like, knock out their teeth.
Well, the moms say you communicate. So basically you talk about to the person that is invading your personal space and say...
you mean that just hit you?
No, it's like they're picking on you.
Oh, okay.
Some moms say that you just go to step 3. Like, if somebody physically touches you or spits on you, it's a 3. Step 1 is you talk to them about it. You be like, hey, I don't like when you touch me. Or I don't like when you're doing X, Y, and Z. You're pulling my hair. You need to stop. 2, it is tell a teacher and then tell your mom so that the mom can send an email letting the teacher know that they know. And then 3, the lady said, tear their ass up.
Well, our children had very different ideas of what they were supposed to do if someone hit them. So I think it might be funny to just talk about each child's interpretation of... The only one we didn't ask was Mamie, which we can ask her later. So Oakland's, yours, was, of course, I'm going to tell the teacher. I'm going to tell the teacher, and if the teacher doesn't listen, I'm going to find another teacher, and I'm going to tell that teacher, and I'm going to keep telling teachers until somebody listens. And I'm just thinking, yeah, that's you.
Yeah, that is her.
That is her. My kid, the little one, boy, said he would tell the teacher. I was shocked. I thought he would say I'd punch him in the face. Now, my daughter... my 9-year-old, I said, what would you do? She decided she was going to act it out. So she gave us a full-on whatever.
And she
theatrical.
Said, if they didn't stop, then I'm just going to kick them in the nuts.
I'm going to kick them in the nuts. I'm like, yep. Yes, you are. But how do you conceptualize with a 4-year-old? Okay, if they're just being naughty to you, you can talk to them. But if they put their hands on you in a mean way...
Well, think about T-ball. Like, there was a few kids that were literally getting a little too rough with our kids. And they were throwing dirt in their face and all the things. They're kids, okay? And they're like 4 and 5-year-olds. But in the same account, I'm thinking, what do? You know what I'm saying? Kids will be kids. But if... that one kid was literally like picking up the other kid and dragging them, and I was getting a little concerned.
Well, the one kid that I think you're talking about, I was just counting down in my mind because I thought one more, and I'm going out there, and this is not going to be pretty because it was getting pretty bad. I mean, I wouldn't have done anything to the kid. I would have just got my kid out of the situation. But I think for me, it's more if someone is trying to hurt you, and like puts their hands on you in a way that they're being very aggressive and mean and like trying to fight you, then you better just hit them back.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. And I'm sure other parents are like, no, we are completely hands off in this.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Well, let me tell you a story. And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I was in 3rd grade. Very good kid.
Are you tired of running to the lobby to see if your next appointment has arrived? Would you like a more discreet, stress-free way for your clients to check in? Take a deep breath. The Receptionist for iPad empowers your practice to create a Zen-like check-in experience. This episode is sponsored by the Receptionist for iPad. It's the highest-rated digital check-in software for therapy and behavioral health offices, used by thousands of practitioners across the country. The Receptionist for iPad is a simple, inexpensive way to allow your clients to discreetly check in, to notify providers of a patient's arrival, and to ensure your front lobby is stress-free. The software sends an immediate notification to the therapist when a client checks in and can even ask if any patient information has changed since their last visit. Start a 14-day free trial of the Receptionist for iPad by going to thereceptionist.com/besties. And when you do, you'll also get your first month free when you sign up.
This little kid, I think he had some special learning things going on, but he would like harass me and like pull my hair and like chase me around the playground and like all these things, and I couldn't get away from him. And one time he did it and I literally just pushed him and gave him a concussion. And I was so scared that I was going to get in trouble. And I went to the principal's office and it was this little old man, but he was really scary when I was in 3rd grade. And I just told him, I gave him examples of all the things that this kid had been doing to me. And I never got in trouble for it. I just had to tell the kid that I was sorry. But it's almost like I needed permission to do that and nobody ever gave it to me. So then when I did it, I was like, oh no, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for this. But it's true. If somebody's like pulling your hair and chasing you around and like talking about your butt in 3rd grade, like, no.
Yeah.
I would hope my daughter would do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, enough's enough. And it sounds like you told him multiple times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, back off.
He kind of freaked me out a little. But yeah, I think that there is a fine line in the sand for me as a parent that I don't, like, I want my daughter to defend herself or put people in their place.
I mean, I don't like fighting. I can't watch a fight. It kills me. I can't do it. But now, you know me well enough to know, like, it wouldn't take much. I will defend myself in a blink of an eye if I have to. Like,
I'd be the one that's like, should I do this?
Oh,
or should I not?
No, like, it's like a light switch for me. Like, I have a lot of tolerance for a lot of things, but you invade my personal space and there is something that just flips. I'll never be the first one to put my hands on anyone, and I think it's important, you know.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what all these moms on TikTok were saying. Like, I'm never going to tell my kid to start a fight, but they better finish it, basically.
Or they better defend themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've worried about my middle child a lot because she's feisty, but like she's very kind-hearted. And so I worry that she would, I don't know, she'd probably be the one that should be fine.
Yeah, she'd figure it out, I think. I think her struggle would always be with, like, girls because she wants to be included.
Yeah.
Boys, I don't worry about that.
Kick them in the nuts.
Yeah, she let me know loud and clear.
Yeah, I wanted to say, well, what if they don't have nuts? What would you do? No, but I just thought, like, what do they teach them at school? And because I know tattling's a big thing. Like, even when I was a teacher, it was like, I don't want to know unless you're bleeding or, whatever. And so how is that being handled? And I think it probably goes back to whatever the parent is teaching or whatever the children are being modeled at home as to how they're going to react.
I don't think if somebody really was bullying my kid, I don't think she would tell anyone. She's a tattletailer, but if they were, like, really hurting her, I don't think she would tell anyone. I think she'd just sit there and cry, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know how to teach that. And because I'm always like, well, you better be kind. Maybe you should just be nice. I don't know why I think that. I
disagree with you. I think she would. I mean, I think she would. I think she would. She's pretty mouthy, and she can tell somebody how it is. And I think if they were doing something that she felt in her core was wrong, that she would let them know.
Maybe with us, like in our environment,
You
like
don't think she'd do that?
not at school, not based on what her teacher tells me. She says she's the opposite of basically what I know. I hope that she would do that, like the time that her and Thayer were on the playground about to go get this ball from this kid because he was being a bully and he was keeping it from him, and they both shoot up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to get that ball, and the kid threw it because he was terrified of them, and he was like double the size. But I think she has the capability of standing up for herself. I just think in certain, like, those areas where she's not really sure how an adult would respond is where she doesn't know. Because I think in our household, I know for a fact that we're really predictable. Like, she knows what's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Yeah. You know, I used to think, well, my son is going to be the one that I'm going to have to worry about with fighting. But I actually don't think so. I could be wrong. But, I mean, he's kind of that way at school, too, like the way you described her. I just wonder if he would sit there and take it. I don't know. At school.
See? Now I got you thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at home, I know that both of them would defend themselves in a heartbeat. Or if we had them out in public.
He beats the shit out of Lennon all the time.
I mean, I know, but I don't think he would ever do that at school.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those things, you know, similar to your body and, you know, people should not touch your body and all that. Like how you handle situations and altercations needs to be something we probably talk about more often.
Yeah, definitely.
And normalize it more often. We're sort of desensitizing the kids in a lot of ways, and I can tell it's slow, but, you know, even like the oldest now, she'll just willingly say, well, I'm on my period, you know, and like a year ago,
desensitizing certain topics.
She would have never said a word. And then like Lennon, like kick him in the nuts. I mean, that's me. I'll take that one because she has a lot of cousins and like around a lot of boys and a lot of kids. And it's just probably been something I've said, but it's stuck with her. And I think that if they know how we will respond if something were to happen, they would feel more like they could advocate for themselves and not get in trouble.
Well, and bullying nowadays is I feel like it's a lot more calculated than it was when we were growing up. Like it's like these kids are 10 years farther in life than we ever were. But everything's so calculated. Even with your oldest, we've talked about like how mean kids can be. And yeah, so I think we do need to be having those conversations, especially because it doesn't look like, you know, kids aren't going to school and giving people swirlies. I mean, they probably are. But that was like the form of bullying you and I knew.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just a completely different, like they might not punch you in the face, but they might be sitting behind you pulling your hair all the time.
And nobody knows.
Yeah. Or spitting on you when nobody's looking.
It's very covert. Well, I can tell you, listen, I don't know if I ever told you this. There was a point in my childhood that totally changed me. And it's weird. And I have a friend, and I'm sure she doesn't listen to this podcast. I don't even know if she knows. I haven't talked to her since high school. But I have a friend, and we played softball together our whole school. Like, we played softball together the whole time. And she was a lot bigger than me. I was little. Like, I was like the runt, you know, like the puny little one. And I think I was... When was it? It was middle school. So I was in 6th grade, and it was my first year playing softball because they wouldn't have softball in elementary or anything. Well, I was little, like I said, I was a little runt, so it wasn't like I was going around beating people up. But those softball girls, the 8th grade girls on my team, one day we all came into the locker room to get dressed for practice. They beelined to me and picked me up, and then they told me that they were going to give me a swirly. And I swear I lost it. It was the most, like,
you have to act more psycho than they're acting.
Oh, and I did. There was something like, it felt so violating. Like they're going to stick my head in a toilet upside down and flush it. Hell no, you're not. I mean, I was like a fraction of their size. I was punching, kicking, spitting, biting. I was the only kid on that team that didn't get a swirly. And I was never the same again.
Huh.
And I just thought, you will not do this to me. Like in my head while I was like, something, I don't know what it was that just, you talk about like adrenaline. It was not happening. So like, that's the kind of stuff that we experienced or that I experienced. It wasn't I'm going to post a picture of you on Instagram or Snapchat that's embarrassing. It wasn't like that. It was, I'm going to fight you, or I'm going to wait for you over here.
Smash your head in a locker, something of the nature.
Yeah, something like that, like physical.
Mm-hmm.
Physical, which sucks, but, in a lot of ways, it's easier to handle than all of the emotional and mental.
Well, physical abuse is way, I'm not going to say easier. I always conceptualize it as emotional abuse is like top tier. It's the hardest thing to get over. It's the hardest thing to undo because it's calculated and it's over time. While you were talking, I was thinking about maybe times that maybe I was a bully. And so I was like thinking about, but there's one situation, I've never talked about this, but it's literally burnt inside of my head. I don't know how else to explain it. I was like in 4th grade and there was this kid. And my cousins, I had a lot of boy cousins, and they were freaking mean. Like, I don't know how else to put it. They were bullies. They were jerks. They probably beat their teacher's ass a couple times. I don't know. There was this little boy, and he was in my class, but he only went to school with me for like 6 months, and I lived in a very, very small town. I'm just going to say his initials is BS. And he was wearing girl pants, and I remember somebody making fun of him, and I was too. And like, that's something that really like sticks in my head because I don't know if it was my mom or somebody, but they were like, don't do that. Like, that's not cool. You don't know if that kid can't even afford pants, or maybe he wants to wear girl pants. Mm-hmm. But where I am today, it kind of is ironic in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But I remember that, and it really hurt me that I was so mean to that kid, which, I didn't have any other interactions with him, but what if that was an interaction that really upset him? Because, I have things like that when you're like a little kid and somebody's making fun of you for stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're always self-conscious about it.
Mm-hmm. Remember when I told you that girl had reached out to me and I read you the message she sent me? And I was just thinking, like, she sent me this message on Facebook and I talked to her forever. And she just said, I just wanted to apologize for how I treated you when we were in high school. Remember?
Yeah. That was she was...
No, she was not the one that gave me the swirly. No.
Okay.
No, I beat her ass. No. No, but I didn't even remember when she told me that she was sorry what she had done to me.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't something that I held on to, but apparently it was something that she had held on to for all those years and felt remorse. Yeah. And so I thought that was pretty big of her to reach out and do that because that wouldn't be easy to do. And then when I read it to you, you're like, wow, did people really do that to you? And I was like, yeah, it's really sad. But yeah, I mean, I think just conflict in general is so important in one, like how it's modeled in front of our children. I'm not a big believer in the whole, like, we don't argue in front of the kids. I know you're like, we don't argue in front of the kids, whatever. I'm not going to fight in front of my kids, but I think it's fine to see your parents disagreeing about something, or else you grow up thinking, oh, adults aren't supposed to argue.
Yeah.
Oh, if you disagree or if you fight, you don't love each other. Or, there's all these...
And conflict doesn't equal a fight. And,
no.
I've learned that as, 3 years ago, I would have been like, it's all the same.
You've learned that?
Yeah, but I think modeling healthy conflict is important. Or when people do something that you don't like and your kids are a witness to how you respond to that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of my kids is still, it's like imprinted into her. And it's something that I have to be very mindful and conscious of because just like me, she associates fighting with leaving. And so if she comes home and like it's a normal time that you would typically be home and you're not there, where's Kelsey? Is she coming back? She's so used to and grew up seeing there was a conflict. Oh, somebody's gone. And that's really sad. And that's just a different. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about kicking someone in the nuts, but like really modeling for her. That's why I don't really mind to have a conflict in front of her, really, because I kind of want her to see, oh, yeah, like we were disagreeing, but everything's okay.
Yeah.
Because her brain doesn't connect like that. So I think that I'm having to do a little bit of reprogramming. I don't know. If you haven't watched those TikToks, you should.
It's hilarious.
They're funny. And we also want to know, so if you comment on our social media posts or on wherever you get your podcasts, and let us know what you teach your kids, because maybe you have a better solution than we do.
Maybe we have it all wrong, and then you can be on our podcast and tell us what we really should be doing.
Yeah, or you can just tell our kids.
Yeah, better yet.
There you go. That way we don't mess it up.
Yeah. We'll have to get a big whiteboard and
we'll
draw it out for them.
Like we did about the bodies.
The body parts.
Yeah. These are your ovaries. Oh, God. Well, that's it.
Okay, besties. We will talk to you next time.
If you're enjoying our podcast and would like to hear more from us, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts so we can keep making great content.
Talk to you later, besties.